November is an intense month, and that is definitely an understatement. I mean, this whole year has been intense, so it really is no surprise that we've got another month or so of intensity. Being that we're in the heart of Scorpio season, it is all about getting real, getting authentic, getting substantive, and diving deep under the surface to make sense of the mess that we've left untouched and unattended to for a long time. For you, Aquarius, November is looking really good. There's a lot that can be gained and a lot of strides that can be made. However, you've got to put in the work. A lot of self-reflection, a lot of isolation and rest can really do you well and can have you celebrated, venerated, and successful in the long run. Are you ready to hear about it? Let's go. What's up, Aquarius? I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. As always, my name is Mel and welcome to my channel, Divine Feminine Works. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. This channel is everything tarot, astrology, and spirituality. So if those are the things that interest you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, Aquarius, happy November. I hope that the month has been treating you well so far. You know, we're right in the middle of Scorpio season. Actually, we're more towards the end of it. And I don't know about you, but Scorpio season has been crazy intense. Intense than many of the other Scorpio seasons that I remember from the past. Like this one was just absolutely crazy. And it's for good reason. I mean, we've got a lot going on. It's been a crazy kind of year. And when you talk about Scorpio, you're talking about getting deep down and dirty. It's like Scorpio can be a very messy sign, and not in a bad way. It's just like sort of making sense of the mess. That's always how I associate Scorpio. And Scorpio season, that's the time to do that. I mean, the veil is very thin. We've got, you know, the spirit world really mixing and mingling with the physical world. We've got emotions and things under the surface that are finally being discovered and dealt with. So it's a lot. It's a lot. So have patience with yourself, especially if you really feel like you've been going through it this season, especially this month. Have patience because there is light at the end of the tunnel and things will start to make sense sooner rather than later. All right, Aquarius. So let's get into the astrology of November for you in particular. So November has a focus on your 10th house. With the sun being in Scorpio for a majority of the month, your 10th house of career and public life is really what's lit up. It's your time in the sun, more than just what you do for a living or your job or the organizations that you're a part of. The 10th house is really fame, glory, reputation. It's like, it's your public life. It's everything that you do, you know, in public. It's everything that's out in the open. It's also really about, whoa, I just lost my train of thought for a second. What the hell was I about to say? Like I had something so profound and then it just like, poof, went away. Oh, this is what I was going to say. It's also a time for being social because, again, this is your public life. So with the sun in your 10th house of Scorpio and then shifting into your 11th house of friendship and goals, this month and into next month is really about being social. It's interacting with people. It's about working. It's about your status in society. And since we're talking about Scorpio season, one of the facets of Scorpio in particular is the notion of power. And I feel like that really plays into Scorpio season for you, Aquarius, because if you're talking about public life, if you're talking about career, inherent in all of that is this notion of power. How much power you have, how much power you exert over others, and how much power others can exert over you. If we're talking about career, a lot of times we're talking about perhaps you have a boss, or perhaps you are the boss. Regardless of what the situation is, we're talking about how much power you have at your disposal. Whether you've got someone who's wielding power over you, or whether you have people who, or whether you have power that you're wielding over others. That's sort of how this plays out. And when it comes to career, you guys are very driven and action oriented. Traditionally, Scorpio is ruled, the ruling planet for Scorpio is Mars, and Mars is all about action. It's all about drive. It's all about persistence and determination, perseverance. And that's sort of how you guys approach your career. Now, what's interesting is that there's other factors at play when it comes to your career, and particularly it has to do with your spirituality and your solitude. I feel like there is a lot to be said about your 12th house when you're talking about your career, because your 12th house also contains Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto, that great conjunction that I've been talking about for quite a few months. And that is sextile to your 10th house of career, where your sun is currently placed. So there is this symbiotic energy. There's this energy at your disposal that you can really get ahead, and you can really make strides in your career if you sort of do this internal work, and if you sort of rest, recharge, and sort of examine some of your past activities. That's sort of how this plays out. And particularly, I mention this because on the 12th, which just passed a couple of days ago, we had Jupiter in an exact conjunction with Pluto in your 12th house. And this was very powerful and potent energy. It's really this aspect, this Jupiter conjunct Pluto aspect is really the star of November, because it gives us this very fortuitous energy that we can use, and Lord knows we can use it right now, because everything has been crazy and wonky, especially the last couple of months, and they're going to continue to be so at least into early 2021, so keep that in mind. But anyway, again, you have this very fortunate energy with Jupiter conjunct Pluto, but I'll get to that in a second. I want to take everything chronologically and sort of guide you throughout the month of November. So apart from just having the sun in your 10th house, like I mentioned before, you also have Venus, which will transit into your 10th house later this week. We've got Mercury that's currently chilling in your 10th house. Plus, we had that powerful new moon in Scorpio, which just occurred a couple of days ago in your 10th house. So like I said, there's a very big emphasis on your career and public life, particularly how you communicate when it comes to the public. Even if it's not talking about career, it could be talking about how you communicate with people online, how you communicate with fans and followers and things like that. Again, with Mercury there, it's all about communication. It's all about ideas. It's all about interacting with people. And then with Venus getting ready to transit into your 10th house, there's this element of value, particularly as it relates to relationships. So any of these public relationships you have, any networking, any sort of industry relationships are really coming into focus this month of November. And again, with all of this happening in the sign of Scorpio, it's all about truth. It's all about getting to the heart of the matter. And it's also about being real and authentic. Nothing superficial. It's all about depth and substance. So if you keep those things in mind as it pertains to your career and public life, I think that you can really get ahead. I think that you can really have a positive 10th house month when we're talking about November. So that's the emphasis for the month. So like I was mentioning before, one of the star days of the month was November 12th with that Pluto and Jupiter conjunction in Capricorn. This was happening in your 12th house. And the key phrase for this conjunction is hidden treasure. It's about finding treasure where you would least likely expect it. Think about the concept of diamonds and finding diamonds in the rough. Diamonds are made of earth matter, pressurized earth matter. So when you look at a diamond diamond before it's formed, it really looks like nothing, right? But after intense pressure for many, many years, a diamond forms, and diamonds are beautiful and they're very valuable. So looking at earth matter, you would never think that you would find treasure there, but add some pressure and time and you get something beautiful and valuable. And that is sort of the theme of Pluto conjunct Jupiter in Capricorn. And with this happening in your 12th house, I feel like some of the internal work that you do, right? Because the 12th house is about solitude, it's about resting, recharging, it's even about sleeping. It could also be about philanthropic work, such as charity work and things of that nature. By really diving into that, that is where you're going to find the hidden treasure, which I believe is going to give you the fuel to positively affect your career. Because like I said, your 12th house and your 10th house are sextile. So working in tandem, using those two energies together, I feel like you're going to be able to get ahead and have a positive effect on your career. So that is sort of your challenge for November. That's sort of your task, is to really go within, especially because we're still in Scorpio season. It's all about getting to the heart of the matter, diving deep and sort of making sense of the mess and the muck that's been hidden underneath the surface, right? If you do that, with respect to philanthropic work, so if you really get involved in philanthropic work this month, if you're able to rest, some of you, like I said before, when it comes to your career, you guys are very driven and action oriented. I feel like Jupiter conjunct Pluto is also signaling that stop doing so much. By actually resting and recharging, that's where you're going to find your fortune, and that's where you're going to find your abundance in order to positively affect your career. So some of you just need to rest. Some of you need some sleep. Some of you need to just chill out for a bit. Some of you need to really get into meditation, spirituality, all of that stuff. Doing all of that stuff, engaging all of that stuff, again, is going to positively affect your career and your public persona, your reputation, all of that good stuff. All right. So then the next major event that happened this month, which was back on November 13th, was Mars finally went direct. Mars has been in the sign of Aries since June and it went retrograde in September. So from September until last week, Mars was debilitated. Mars is in its home sign of Aries, so it's very potent, but being retrograde, it just wasn't like at a 10. It was like being at like a 3. So now that Mars has finally gone direct, now there's this surge of energy, there's this surge of motion wherever Mars is placed in your chart. And for you, Aquarius, Mars is actually in your 3rd house of communication and ideas. This also bodes well for this 10th house emphasis that you've got going on this month, because 3rd house was communication, ideas, day-to-day activities, all the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, all the interactions that you have with people. It also deals with paperwork. It also deals with writings and things of that nature. All of those things are also associated with your 10th house, right? So with Mars finally going direct, it's like you're going to get this turbo boost of energy where you're going to have the stamina, the determination, the drive, the ambition in order to get things done. Your mental activities are going to be on fleek now. You may be coming up with ideas left and right. You may just be more vocal. You may be expressing yourself more. All of that can really bode well for this 10th house emphasis, like I said before. So that was Mars going direct. Just the other day, we had a powerful new moon in the sign of Scorpio, and I'm going to put a link to that above so you guys can check out that video as well. This was happening in your 10th house of career. So this new moons are typically associated with new beginnings, with a time to plant new seeds. But I feel like this particular new moon was more so about endings. You need endings in order to have a new beginning. So there may have been things regarding your public life, your reputation, your career that may have had to end, that may have had to be shed in order to make room for any of this new wonderful abundance that you are primed to receive. So we had that energy, and we still do have that energy available to us right now. So think about some of the things that maybe you no longer need or no longer serve you as they pertain to your career or your public life or your reputation. Maybe it's time to sort of axe those so that you can prepare room for some of the things that you would like to manifest with respect to your career and public life. So that was the new moon in Scorpio. And again, I'll put that link up above so that you could check out that video. All right, so moving right along, on the 21st, coming up this weekend, we have the sun moving into the sign of Sagittarius. So as the month progresses and we move closer towards December, there's going to be less of an emphasis on your career and public life and more of a shift of energy towards your friendships, your associations, and your goals. It's all about thinking big. It's all about casting a wide net, particularly as it relates to friendships, associateships, if that's even a word, your membership in social groups, networking, all of that stuff. That's going to be the focus once the sun moves into Sagittarius, and you're going to be doing so on a very sort of widespread scale. Sagittarius is all about broadening your horizons. It's about reaching for the stars. And so you're going to be interacting with people in a very broad way, perhaps most likely over the internet. So that's what's to come in December, but I'll get to that in the videos that I'll do for next month. And then that same day, we have Venus transiting into Scorpio. Again, this is still going to be in your 10th house of career and public life. It's going to put a focus on those relationships and also equality in those relationships and harmony and the value that you place on them. It's almost like taking out, for those of you who are old enough to remember, it's like taking out your Rolodex of all of the contacts you have, people that you've met at conventions, people that you've met along the way in your career, and sort of taking stock of those relationships. Again, with Mercury also in your 10th house, maybe now might be a great time to reach out to people, particularly with Mars having gone direct in your 3rd house of communication and ideas. This may be the time for you guys to reach out to old contacts, to just reach out far and wide to people who may be of assistance to you or to people that you may be assisting. So there's a lot of activity that can be done and that can be accomplished with respect to your 10th house. Again, I can't stress enough how much emphasis there is on your 10th house this month. All right, and then finally, we close out the month on November 30th with a powerful full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Gemini. Full moons are all about illumination. They either show you the culmination of seeds you planted in the past, or they shed light on something that has been in the dark for a while. So think back to May of this year, particularly the new moon. We had a new moon solar eclipse in May, I believe. And that may have been a time where something in your life was implanted. New moons are all about setting intentions, planting new seeds. So something may have been eclipsed into your life back in May, something brand spanking new, particularly as it pertains to creative endeavors, entertainment, children. That is your 5th house where Gemini lies. So there may have been something along those lines that manifested or that began back in May. Now with this full moon lunar eclipse happening in that same house, your 5th house of self-expression, now you may see the culmination of that. So it's had 6 months to sort of marinate, see the lay of the land and see how things sort of fit. And now it's either time to keep it or, trash it. I'm talking about whatever transpired back in May. Full moons also uncover things that have been in the dark. And with this happening in your 5th house, this may have to do with a romantic relationship. It may have to do with a creative endeavor. It also may have to do with children. Something surprising, something out of the ordinary may occur around this eclipse. But remember, the whole point of eclipses is to sort of move things around in your life so that you can be in alignment. What stays can be eclipsed in. I mean, what's good and in alignment can be eclipsed in. What needs to go and doesn't serve you can be eclipsed out. And eclipses are very powerful. They're like, the full moon lunar eclipse is like a full moon on steroids. Ancient civilizations would actually fear eclipses for the sheer power that they exude. The energy can be very wonky. The energy can be very unstable. A lot of times, a lot of people in the spiritual community say that you shouldn't do any rituals during an eclipse because the energy is just too all over the place. But regardless, it's Spirit's way of cleaning house, of adding things that need to be added and clearing things that need to be cleared. So keep that in mind as we end the month on a very crazy note with that full moon lunar eclipse. All right, Aquarius, so that's been the astro forecast for November. If you'd like to know more about what the month has in store for you, I'm going to put the link to the November 2020 horoscopes in the description box below so you can read all about the month, including the transits and information on your ruling planet. And you can also read for your sun, moon, and rising sign. So again, that'll be in the description box below. All right, so now that we've gotten the astrology out of the way, let's get into the tarot and see what messages Spirit has for you for this month. All right, I like this. Nice. It's a nice way to start out. This is growth. And it says, I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. Growth is always a good thing, right? And with this yellow color, this is giving me very solar plexus chakra vibes, right? And growth, your consciousness and awareness. It's this awareness that's standing out to me. There's something that you are now like privy to, something that you're now aware of that you weren't aware of before. And it's in a way that is enlightening. Well, obviously awareness is enlightening, but it's almost like I'm seeing like a light bulb has gone on. And you're like, oh, that makes sense now. I feel like it has to do with your 12th house because we've got Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto conjunct there, right? This great conjunction. And being in the 12th house is very much a house of self-reflection. It's a time of confinement. It's a time of really being alone with yourself in order to examine how things have transpired in your life. 12th house rules institutions, particularly like mental asylums and prisons. And I say this because think about when you hear stories about people who've been in prison. By being alone, by being in a cell for majority of the day locked up, you really only have time. It's like you have plenty of time to think about yourself, think about the things that you've done, and think about the things that you want to do in the future, right? And that's the same thing that I feel has gone on with you. Some of you may have gotten out of jail. That's what I'm hearing. Or you may have gotten out of a hospital stay or out of some period of confinement. And I feel like during that time, there's a lot of insight, of personal insight that you've been able to gain, particularly as it relates to replaying the past in your mind. A lot of you have had your past replaying in your mind on loop, like a movie that you've just been watching continuously. And it's been able to give you this, again, this insight that has allowed you to expand your consciousness and awareness. So you've grown as a person recently, which is great. All right. We've got communication. I've been talking a lot about communication, right? Because I'm talking about how your 10th house is very social. Even when the sun moves into Sagittarius, into your 11th house, it's still very social because you're interacting with people. And with Mars having just gone direct in your 3rd house of communication and ideas, and if you look at this card, it's a number 33 for 3rd house, right? It's all about your relationships and how you communicate. I really feel like for a lot of you, remember how I said that the 12th house and the 10th house are sextile, right? So there's this energy available to you where it's very positive. If you do this kind of work, if you put in that effort, that self-reflection, I feel like it'll positively affect your career and your social life. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like this growth allows you to communicate better with your authority figures, with your employees if you're a boss, with your networking partners, with anyone that you interact socially with. I feel like this growth has or will be able to allow you to communicate 10 times better with people who are around you. We've got fork in the road. So there's a decision that you guys need to make at this time. It's like you got to figure out which way you want to go, particularly as it relates to your career. I don't know if you can see that. It's the number 13, which reduces to a 4. It's about your stability. Almost like you guys are strategizing, okay, if I do this and I accept this position, or if I move to this city, or if I take this particular project, how is that going to affect everything? I feel like you guys are trying to put a strategy together to decide which way you're going to go. And I also feel like that's where the communication comes in. Some of you are going to be reaching out to people. Like I said, it's like Opening up your Rolodex. And for those of you that are too young to know what a Rolodex is just like a address book or a book of contacts, right? With their phone number, almost like you would keep on your phone. So rather than say Rolodex, let me like not show my age for a second. It's like going through your phone, through all of your IG contacts, your followers, all of the people that you got in your phone, people that you communicate with, that you DM with. You're like, listen, I need to get from point A to point B. Who can help me? All right, let me reach out to them. But now that I've been able to see how I've moved in the past, the mistakes I've made, now I know exactly how to approach this person so that when I approach them, they're actually able to help me. And this is really going to work out for me. That's what I see you guys doing this month. Ooh, the bouquet. All right. This is beautiful energy. This is very positive. It's beauty. It's happiness. It's almost like a gift. Like I said, you guys, if you've done the self-reflection, right? If you've done that 12th house work, it's like this is going to blossom for you. There is a lot, your reputation, your outward persona, your status in life, I feel like is going to bloom and it's going to blossom. And you've got a lot of people around you who can help. I feel like people, you know what I'm hearing? It's like, give people their flowers while they're still alive. I feel like there are people that are going to speak highly of you, speak well of you, and praise you, perhaps in public, which is really going to fuel your career. It's really going to either get you promoted. It's going to get you seen. You've got a lot of positive 10th house energy right now, Aquarius. All right. Perseverance. Again, this is a number 4. We're talking about stability. We're talking about strategizing. We're talking about plotting and planning. This has been, y'all, again, with Scorpio being your 10th house, you guys aren't strangers to hard work. You guys aren't strangers to actually putting in the effort to get things done. You guys can be very persistent. And I feel like it's time for that persistence to pay off. For others of you, it may not happen right now, but this is saying persevere. Really work through this because you do have some positivity coming your way. And then we have, look at that. We've got there's something better. I just feel like your station in life is going to improve. That's number 1. Others of you, the plans that you're making, it's not that they're bad. I feel like it might even turn out better than you realize. It's almost like, let's say you're working, and this is just a very simplistic example. You're working and you're like, yo, I really just want $100. I want to make $100. I feel like even the same work that you plan on putting in, it's going to give you $1,000. That's what I'm hearing. It's like things are going to turn out better than you expected. But again, it all hinges on you doing that personal inner work, that inner reflection, that self-reflection, which is just going to fuel everything else and give you a really beautiful future. All right, let's get into the tarot and see what messages we have for you. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. This is the 9 of Cups. This is wishes fulfilled. Wishes fulfilled. I'm also hearing some of you guys, this is all going to happen come Sagittarius season. When the sun moves into your 11th house of goals, ambition, and gains, that is when you're going to start to see the results of all of this hard work you've been putting in. And then we've got the 8 of Pentacles. This is mastering your craft. This is work. This just shows me that you guys are really working. Some of you are going to get a position that you've really wanted. I feel like you've worked hard for it. It could be a promotion, or it could just be in a completely different industry altogether. But I hear that some of you are going to get this job, this project, this position that you've been eyeing for a long time and working hard towards. Let's get some more cards out here. Some of you are stars. Some of you are really going to get like notoriety. We've got the 9 of Wands. This speaks of perseverance as well. This is the card of you've already done this work and you're probably tired. You're probably tired, particularly with Mars having been retrograde. You've probably been feeling physically tired, drained, sluggish, etc. But with the presence of this card, it's like there's just a little more push. It's like you're almost there. You're almost there. And with Mars having gone direct, now you're going to have the stamina. Now you're going to have the stamina to push further. And that is what's going to sort of take you over the edge into this beautiful, positive, blooming, blossoming career and public life. Let's get some more cards out here. Yeah, some of you are going to be really you're going to be really known and popular. This is beautiful energy, the World. This is what I'm talking about with respect to that 12th house energy. That self-reflection, that isolation in order to have self-reflection, that is what attributes to growth, like I said before. But it's like that is what completes the cycle. I feel like a lot of you feel like you've been on a hamster wheel, right? You've really been exerting the energy. You've been doing the work, and you haven't quite seen the results that you want. It's that self-reflection, especially now that we're still in Scorpio season, that self-reflection, that isolation, that rest, that is going to close that chapter and open this new chapter of abundance, open this new chapter of notoriety, open this new chapter, this new beginning that's beautiful and positive. Again, it's that inner work. It's that inner work. And look at that. What was I just talking about? Rest. Some of y'all really need to rest. Rest your mind, rest your brain. Mars has been in your 3rd house of communication and ideas. The 3rd house also covers mental activities. It's been in your house since June. So I feel like your minds have been racing a mile a minute for most of the year, trying to figure out ways to get ahead, trying to figure out who to talk to, trying to figure out which way to go, what to do, what plan, what strategy, etc. Right now, even though Mars has gone direct, I feel like some of y'all need to rest. Some of y'all need to meditate too. Some of y'all need to get your thoughts in order. And you can only do that by resting. Let's get one more card here. We've got the Goddess of Swords. All right, I love this depiction because the Goddess of Swords, she speaks the truth. She doesn't hold her tongue for anybody. She speaks clearly, eloquently, and given that she's dressed all in white, she speaks authentically and truthfully. That is how you need to approach everything. Again, November is a big month for communication, particularly social communication for you, Aquarius. I feel like you need to speak the truth. That's the essence of Mercury in Scorpio, is speaking the truth, speaking substance, nothing superficial, everything true, authentic, deep, intense. If that's how you communicate with your networking people, if that's how you communicate with authority figures, if that's how you communicate with employees, people that you know, contacts that you know, it will take you very far, very far. And don't hold your tongue. Now is the time to speak. Now is definitely the time to speak. At the bottom of the deck, we have the 8 of Swords. Some of you have been a prisoner of your own mind. And I feel like this is also that 12th house energy, because while some of you have isolated, or when some of you get the chance to isolate and really examine yourself, your past, the things you've done in the past, the mistakes you made, a lot of you are going to feel like this, almost like you're going to feel like a prisoner. It's almost like your mind is going to drive you crazy. And it's important for you to not let it get that far. Because right under this card, we've got the Ace of Pentacles. And this is all about that Jupiter conjunct Pluto energy in your 12th house. It is in this mental mess, this thoughts running wild, negative thoughts all over the place that you feel like is going to trap you. That is where you find your treasure. That is where you find your opportunity. That is where you find your fortune. By examining your past, by examining yourself. And it's going to pay off tremendously here. Because look, we've got the 8 of Pentacles. So money is going to be good. Money's gonna be, so imagine this, you're gonna have what you want, you're gonna be well rested, you're going to be confident, and you're gonna be paid. It doesn't get any better than that, Aquarius. Like, no lie. All right, let's get some clarification here. Let's get one on the Eight of Pentacles. See what this is about. We've got the Two of Swords. So I feel like some of you have had a mental block when it comes to either making money, advancing in your career, or actually doing the work that you normally do. Some of you, I'm hearing it has to do with content, like especially if you're like someone who does a lot of online work, you're a content creator. I feel like some of you have really had a mental block and you haven't been able to create. Again, it's that inner work. It's that inner work that's going to allow those thoughts to flow. All right, let's get one on this Nine of Wands. Ooh, we have the Star. Star is all about healing and hope. Some of you, again, you feel like you've been on this hamster wheel forever and it hasn't gotten you anywhere. Again, this inner work, this self-reflection is not only going to be healing for your soul, it's going to help you get off that hamster wheel. And you're going to see that by doing that inner work and getting off the hamster wheel, just that little more that you have to go, that little, you have to persevere because you still have a little push, a little more work to do. It's going to give you everything that you desire. Let's get one on the Worlds. Ooh, we've got the Ace of Swords. This is a victorious new beginning. That is clear. It's crystal clear. Look at it's like you have the sun shining. There's not a cloud in the sky. You are going to have the ability to communicate so well. Your communication skills is what's going to give you this victory. It's what's going to make all of your dreams come true as it pertains to your career and to your public life and to your reputation. It's communication, communication, communication. I cannot stress that enough. And authentic communication. No bullshit. No superficial shit. Speak your truth. Speak from your heart. Speak substance. Be vulnerable. I feel like a lot of you have learned or will learn the value of vulnerability when you're in this isolation and when you're really examining and self-reflecting. It's a certain level of vulnerability that allows you to be very relatable to people and that people gravitate towards. That's how you're going to get people to give you your flowers while you're still alive. Trust and believe that. At the bottom of this deck, we've got the Ten of Swords. The worst is over. I feel like a lot of you were in a mental prison. Some of you I'm hearing were actually in prison or confined, like in a hospital. Others of you have been in a mental prison that has felt like this. That's felt like you've been stabbed in the back. And you notice how this person is naked. That's sort of very 12th house energy because it's like you're stripping all the layers away and you're getting down to your very essence, to your very soul. That is 12th house energy. And you feel like by doing that, you've left yourself raw, you've left yourself bare, you've left yourself vulnerable. But again, it is here where you find your treasure. That is where you find your abundance. That is where you find your abundance. And under that card, we've got the World card again. So we've got the World card twice here. Again, there is a cycle that has ended. There's a cycle that will end. Again, you're getting off that hamster wheel and you're embarking on a beautiful new beginning. And look at that. Under that, we've got the Ten of Pentacles. Money is going to be good for you. If you're thinking about making certain changes and you're afraid that money is not going to be good, don't even worry about it because your money is going to be good, honey. Your money is going to be real good. So don't even worry about that. Don't even worry about that. Yeah, see? The Star card is also the Aquarius card. So you guys have really done, you've really put in some effort. Like I said before, when it comes to your career, you guys are very action oriented. You guys will do what is necessary to get the job done, to get ahead, to be successful. And trust and believe that you guys will get exactly what it is that you want. Your wishes will come true. Particularly once we get into Sagittarius season, I feel like that's when you're really going to start to see the fruits of your labor. That's when you're going to start receiving your flowers. All right. So let's get 3 astrology cards to close out this reading. All right. Let's go. We've got Chiron, healing. Chiron is currently in Taurus, and Taurus is your 4th house. There is a connection between the 4th house and the 12th house. 4th house is all about your roots, it's about your ancestry. I feel like some of you in this self-reflection, there's going to be some lineage, generational, family issues that may come up that may need healing. If we're talking about the star, we're talking about healing as well. And look, we're talking about healing also with Chiron. So there's a lot of healing, not just growth, but a lot of healing. So this self-reflection is like twofold. Not only is it going to give you that growth and the skills in order to communicate effectively so you can get what you want, it's also going to heal you on a very deep level, on a soul level. All right, let's get another one out here. We've got Gemini. Gemini is the butterfly. And this is also where that full moon lunar eclipse is going to be happening. It's going to be happening in your 5th house of self-expression. But most importantly, Gemini is all about communication. And Gemini rules your 3rd house. Gemini rules your it doesn't rule your 3rd house. It's associated with your 3rd house. And that is where Mars has just gone direct. So this circles back to what I was saying before about your mental activities being on fleek, you being able to communicate effectively, communicate vulnerability that makes you relatable. And it's going, butterflies, if you ever take notice of them, they flit around, they fly very rapidly, and it's like they touch everything, right? They land on a flower, they land on the tree, they land on your face or your finger, your hand, or whatever, but they're all over the place, right? This is like how a butterfly is. I feel like that's also how you are going to be. You guys are going to be a social butterfly. You guys are going to be talking to a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people that you are going to speak to, that you're going to communicate with, that you're going to send emails to, text messages to, that's going to help you. And again, these are the people that are going to give you your flowers while you are alive. I'm not saying that as though some of you are going to die. It's just, if you know the phrase, it's like a lot of people give your praise and, they talk about you well after you've died, right? But no, you should, and they bring flowers to funerals, correct? But no, you should really give people their flowers while they're alive. Let them know how special they are. Venerate them while they are alive. That's what I'm talking about. All right, let's get one last card here. For Aquarius for November 2020. Let's get one card here. We've got 9th house. And what does that say? That says seeking. So your 9th house is actually Libra, right? And currently Venus is in Libra. So when it comes to relationships, especially your social relationships, it's all about balance. It's all about fairness. Like I said, there are going to be a lot of people that you're going to be talking to in order to assist you. But don't forget that it's got to be reciprocal. I feel like you can be a blessing to a lot of people that you interact with, particularly if you've done this self-reflective work. It's like you have this awareness and this consciousness that you could now convey to others so that they can sort of embark on a self-reflective journey. So remember, it's got to be symbiotic. It's not just about who can help you, who can do this for you, who can you reach out to get things. It's all about giving as well. And that's what makes relationships so valuable. And that's what makes people, stick with you, is that not only can you reach out to them to have them help you, but when they need you, they can reach out to you so that you can help them as well. So remember that as you're moving around like a social butterfly and you're communicating with people in order to have this beautiful new beginning. All right, Aquarius, that has been your astro forecast and taroscope for the month of November 2020. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important message from this reading. If you would like to book a personal reading with me or order an astrology report, those links are in the description box below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Divine Feminine Works. Every week I do a series called The Week Ahead, where I do a quick and dirty tarot read as well as a quick and dirty astro forecast for the upcoming week. So follow me there so you don't miss that, and that link is also in the description box as well. As always, everything I do is a labor of love and comes straight from the bottom of my heart. Aquarius, if you feel so inclined and would like to tip me by buying me a coffee, you know, that's always appreciated. That link is in the description box as well. Aquarius, my loves, as always, it is a privilege and an honor to read for you. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.